Greetings to all true boxing fans. This is the Fighter Portrait segment. And today, we're going to take a look at a very interesting and exciting heavyweight prospect. His name is Moses Itauma. Guys, what's the deal? So basically, he's a young guy from Britain. Well, from Britain, sort of. Actually, he was born in Slovakia. His mother is Slovak, and his father is from Nigeria. He moved to Britain at a young age. So, he really grew up in Britain, and he's British. Basically, he's a young guy. He's only 20 now, but he started his career really early, at 18. And at 18, he was already well known. A friend called me and told me, he said, "Andre, did you know that this guy just turned 18? He's still in high school." And basically, Frank Warren rushed over and immediately signed him to his company. So I started following him. And really, now he has 12 fights, 12 wins, 10 by knockout. He knocks everyone out, and he does it really fast.
Lovely fellow outside the ring.
And the knockouts are actually pretty spectacular. And you know, they all kind of look alike. I mean, they're like a gunshot in a way. You know, sometimes someone lands a punch and it's a total knockout. People lose consciousness. But that's not the case with Itauma. Hey, listen up. He catches the punch, throws his own, cuts through, and it's like a gunshot. Bam! The opponent gets knocked back, still conscious. But he starts to stagger on his feet, and then just collapses. So it turns out to be a situation where, honestly, it's kind of a phenomenon. A young guy who's already crushing everyone. On BoxRec, even though all his opponents were nobodies, well, except for Mariusz Wach, who's a veteran and way past his prime. And right now, on BoxRec, he's ranked 29th in his weight class. So in this video, we're going to try to figure out what exactly is the phenomenon of Moses Itauma. I mean, why does he knock everyone out like that? What is his real strength? What is it? Is it his technique, some kind of special talent, some unique power? He looks like a regular guy, just an ordinary curly-haired guy. A southpaw, average height, actually, even short for a heavyweight. So what's the phenomenon? Here. And will it keep going like this? I mean, he's just broken into the top 30 now. 29th place on BoxRec. So, the level of opposition is going to rise rapidly. And will Itauma keep knocking everyone out? Or, on the contrary, could it turn out like it did with Jared Anderson? He was. Also a super prospect on paper, right? But things ended pretty badly for him. All right, let's get started. I've already mentioned some of the stats. What else I want to say is that when Itauma was still in school, he was actively sparring with professional boxers. AJ, most likely the Gypsy King, and basically all the others who are out there too. And a lot of people wrote about this as well, saying that he really showed himself in sparring. Guys, but back then I didn't really buy into it, because there's this phenomenon of the sparring partner. So what should a sparring partner be like? A sparring partner like Deontay Wilder against you is a bad one, because he doesn't score points well and his defense isn't great. But he's a puncher. So in sparring, he could be losing to you over and over, but then, God forbid, he lands a shot and you end up knocked out. That's the whole sparring session for you. A good sparring partner is, you know, a quick guy, sensitive, and preferably not someone with a really heavy punch. And guys like that often do really well in sparring, and people praise them, like, wow, this sparring partner is just amazing. And he really is a killer sparring partner. Just on fire, really good. But in big-time boxing, in a real fight, you need punching power, and that's a different story. But Itauma, when it comes to a real fight, he really knocks everyone out quickly. Yeah, he's really something else. I mean, he knocked out Mariusz Wach in the second round. I need to get close to you quickly. That had never happened before. I mean, Wach, He's lost by stoppage before, but he's a very tough fighter, usually only goes down after a lot of punches, typically in the second half of the fight. There was also another athlete like that, last name McKinsey. So before that, he had only one loss. He lost to Hrgovic in the last round, the 12th. Hrgovic just kept punishing him over and over. And usually, Hrgovic breaks the rules a lot too, hitting to the back of the head. So in the 12th round, he just beat him down. Moses Itauma fought that same McKinsey, and he took him out in the very first round. Nagar is back, but it's Chow. Well, I mean, we have to admit that yes, for now his opponents are nobodies, but he really knocks them out very quickly. Now, how does he manage to do that? Look, if we break down his technique, as we've already mentioned, Itauma is a southpaw, and he's 189 centimeters tall, which means he's shorter than his opponents. But he doesn't box like a short fighter. In other words, a short boxer, since he's shorter, usually can't reach his opponent because his arms are shorter. That's how it usually goes. He moves forward like Mike Tyson, lunges, slips. Itauma, no. He has long arms and mostly keeps his opponents off balance from a distance. As a southpaw, he does it in a classic way, using his footwork, showing that he's about to attack. Drugs. His reactions are just about delivering punches. The weight moves within that range. His reactions are just about delivering punches. So, that's what he shows. Basically, he rotates his shoulders. He cocks one shoulder, then the other, back and forth. And we're sitting there for seconds in the shop tonight. By doing this, he shows that he might throw a punch with either hand. Confusing. On one hand, it confuses, but on the other, he's also winding himself up for a harder punch. It's kind of like the breaststroke. And basically, Itauma's techniques are pretty standard. So, Itauma's basic moves are to provoke, make the opponent miss, and then counter. So what does that look like? He feints and draws his opponent in. The opponent attacks him, and Moises either steps back or, since he's a southpaw, often slips and then counters. And a lot of his knockdowns, basically whenever he lands, are built on this approach. It's absolutely impossible to deal with. Next, standard work to the body and head. So when you throw punches either to the head or to the body, and you mix it up, you confuse your opponent. He raises his hands to protect his head, and you land a shot to his body. He takes a shot to the body, drops his hands to protect it, and then you hit him in the head. Actually, if we describe what we're getting here purely in terms of technique, it might sound a bit strange, maybe even shocking to some people. But technically, Itauma, specifically in terms of technique, is very similar to Zanabek Alimkanieli. A boxer. Boxing, what makes a champion in this boxer. From Kazakhstan, also a southpaw. Seriously, he's just a sensitive, crafty fighter, always pressing in close to you, and pretty fast too. But, if Zanabek Alimkanieli is a world champion, on the one hand, but on the other hand, he doesn't really show anything that just blows everyone away, then Itauma, on the other hand, really knocks everyone out. People just drop like they've been cut down. He knocks everyone out instantly. They just don't have time to react. Why does this happen? Look, there are a few reasons for this. Itauma has a very high tempo and rhythm. In other words, he has something in common with Usyk. I mean, these guys are huge, and they're used to a slower kind of boxing. It's not just about punch speed, even everything else is just a bit slower there. Itauma, even though he's a heavyweight, moves with a very fast dynamic. He boxes, well, literally, I don't know, like a middleweight or a light heavyweight. And if he's not in range, I want to approach step by step, she said. Thank you. So his movement, his speed, his rhythm, it's all completely different. It's like he's from a different weight class, almost. And they just can't immediately adjust to that. Giants. But he, on the contrary, gets into it quickly and knocks them out right away. But basically, from my point of view, the most important thing, So why is there such a difference? If you compare, technically, Zanabek Alencanyli and Moises Itauma. Guys, I know a lot of you are going to write to me saying I'm almost an idiot for making these kinds of comparisons, but just look with your own eyes and tell me, what does Moises Itauma do that Zanabek Alencanyli doesn't? Can you name anything? Well, I don't. He really does pretty much the same things. But really, he just jumps right in, while Zanabek doesn't. I think it has to do with speed. I mean, Zanabek is fast, but in the middleweight division, they're all fast. So, the result is good, solid, but it's not exactly out of this world. Yeah. But Moises Itauma, he's really fast. And these heavyweights, they're slower. They just can't keep up with him. Sima Sensensen's got a really good job. So, from my point of view, Itauma, well, I was watching technically how he throws his punches. It's actually pretty interesting too. From a technical standpoint, Itauma just has a regular, solid punch. The last one, basically, he's sleep. Some people even compared him to Mike Tyson. Guys, Mike Tyson would just drive his punch in. The force behind his punch was on a whole different level. He would put his whole body into it, just everything he had. It was actually scary. He was like a cannonball. Itauma, not so much. His punch is just fast. He works in combinations. He can be in the pocket. He punches well. Maybe there's even a bit of a downside. He doesn't really focus on straight punches. So with straight punches, technically, that's a more difficult punch, and he holds back a little, so he can have more power. It's not just about breaking through the guard. Sometimes you need to come from underneath. Sometimes throw it over the top, and that's how you can trick your opponent. But with Itauma, he just doesn't throw that many pure straight punches, even in situations where that punch would fit perfectly. He adds a bit of a twisting motion to it, just to make it a bit stronger. But the most important thing, the key point, is the regular punch. So, there's no kind of super technique, no special superpower where he winds up and puts everything into it. That's it. No. He just throws normal punches, but he's really fast. If he can control his body, he could be in trouble. And it's this speed that's probably the key. So, it's the speed, and then right after that, he jumps in, he takes risks. So, he gets close to his opponent. You can fight as the counterpuncher, being fast like Roy Jones, keeping your distance, feinting, tricking, and fooling your opponent from afar. And when the opponent makes a mistake, you try to catch him, cut him off, knock him out if you can. Well, Itauma often fights both as the aggressor and as the counterpuncher. So he gets in close, like the fight is really intense, he immediately puts pressure on you, and basically, he doesn't give you a chance to catch your breath. And here's the thing, I think the most important thing is speed. You feel it, and then there's his back. Now, so, is this going to keep happening or not? I, for example, think that it is not. So Itauma is an interesting boxer. He really does have talent, and he's pretty technical. But again, as we discussed, from my point of view, this is just a regular gamer. So all his moves, like working the levels, feinting, drawing his opponent in, making them miss, then countering. Like, making them miss from a distance, countering, or dodging and responding. Basically, it's just classic boxing. Again, he uses feints, shows the left hand, then brings up the right, one after the other. He spots an opening somewhere, and he cuts right through it. But why does everyone drop like they've been cut down? And why is it that they don't just get knocked out, but it's like their balance is gone? Their vestibular system just gives out and they start to stagger. Speed. I mean, they just don't see it. Now, will this keep happening or not? I don't think so. Because as the opposition gets tougher, it just can't keep working like that. Like, just because one guy is faster, he knocks everyone out. Even, for example, Roy Jones. Of course, against beginners. Sure, he knocks everyone out right away there. But when he started fighting champions, he didn't just knock everyone out right away anymore, because that's not possible. So, even if you have speed, boxing gives you, if your opponent is smart, even if you're slower than your opponent, even if he's much faster than you, there are still techniques, strategies, and skills to defend against speed. Well, everyone just has their own way. For example, a tall guy has his own style of boxing. Like when you go up against the Klitschko brothers. They don't care if you're fast or not. You're 6'2", they're 6'7". So you could be a total genius, but it doesn't matter to them. So they're on their own wavelength. They just have that tall guy boxing style. He has his own way. If they're the same height, there are also techniques, like constantly moving your head, keeping your hands up higher. Well, in general, I think that for Itauma, things should, not go as smoothly for him from now on. Like, it won't just be like a hot knife through butter. So, I don't think so. Here's another interesting point. Look, the guy is really young, only 20 years old. And some people compare him to Mike Tyson, saying he might break Mike Tyson's record, or not, but he already hasn't, because by this age Mike Tyson was already a champion. But there is something he does have in common with Mike Tyson. You know what that is? It's that Mike Tyson's career ended very quickly. Well, some people link that to his lifestyle, to his mentality. Yes, maybe that's true. Yeah, but that's not the only reason. It's also about physics. I mean, physical conditioning. So, a fighter like Mike Tyson, who wasn't very tall, he was basically about 1m80, 1m78, and Itauma is 1m89. But essentially, it's like Mike Tyson. It's just that now, average height has proportionally increased. So, he's shorter than his opponents. And a shorter boxer, well, there's a period when he's at his physical peak, when he's really fast, he sees everything, he feels everything, right? But then he gets stronger, he kind of fills out, and on one hand, he becomes stronger and tougher, but on the other hand, he gets slower. It's not so much about hand speed or muscle fibers. It's more that he no longer has that lightness in his body, So it's just not there anymore. It decreases with age, and by the time he's close to 30, it drops off a lot. And that's basically it. That's where it all ends. It's kind of like with figure skaters. Now, I don't know much about figure skating. I know that in Russia, basically, people become Olympic champions starting at around 16 years old. That kind of age. But then, when they're 25, which should be the prime of their strength, like they're in top physical shape. I mean, that's supposed to be the peak. But in reality, that's not the case anymore. Because you actually need, well, a teenager's body, let's put it that way, to pull off all those crazy jumps and so on. And I think, in a way, that's kind of what's happening here too. So, Itauma is shocking everyone right now. He's 20 years old. I think that by the time I'm closer to 30, it will all be over. That's it. It's like a bright flash, So, guys, those are my thoughts. Look, as for Itauma, we ended up getting a pretty mixed response from the fighter. Again, he hasn't faced a single strong opponent yet. And if there even are any right now, I mean, to really test him, you'd need a classic tall boxer, but there are hardly any of those around these days. I mean, Tyson Fury, he's kind of an anomaly when it comes to boxing technique. But still, he's an impressive guy in terms of character, willpower, talent, and size. But that's not really a test. There's Usyk, but he's about to leave. He's a whole different story. He has his own parallel boxing style, kind of sensitive, with his own quirks. There's Joshua. Who is this Du Bois? Maybe. Basically, there aren't many real tests out there right now. But from my point of view, I still think it can't go on like this forever. That, he'll just keep stopping guys like Moses, Itauma, and so on. It can't keep going like this, with him knocking everyone out, especially at a higher level. At the same time, I have nothing against him. He's fast. I mean, that's talent. But, again, that talent and speed, opponents can figure out how to deal with that too. So, if you box yourself and you go up against a fast opponent, at first you're shocked, you don't know what to do, but then your brain adapts, and boxing, well, basically, there are ways to handle anyone. So no matter how fast you are, or how much of a super boxer you might be, there's always a way to deal with you. And now, gradually, these processes are going to start, and we'll be watching. The bottom line is that Itauma really is very talented. Yes, he's an interesting boxer. He has solid technique. But again, as I see it, right now, basically, yeah, he needs to slow down a bit, and, in general, they'll find a way to deal with him too. Thank you for watching this video. Also, guys, if you liked it and want to see my videos much more often, subscribe to my private paid Telegram channel. There, I answer all your questions. We have a community there, a chat where we all interact respectfully with each other in the comments. There's actually a lot of interesting stuff going on there. There are about 300 of us, sometimes a little more, sometimes a little less. And maybe you personally are the one we're missing there. Subscribe. I'll leave the link. The link works from any country, with any bank card, and so on. The channel itself is on Telegram, inside the Telegram app. Wishing you all the best. See you next time. Turning off the camera.